Right now at 5, a new strain of the coronavirus confirmed in Indiana. The advice the health department is now giving Hoosiers.
Impeachment plans moving forward on Capitol Hill. The next steps in the deadline the House is giving Vice President Pence.
Coming up, how public safety improvements are being made downtown ahead of the NCAA tournament here in Indianapolis.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 5. Streaming now.
First at 5, a new strain of the virus that causes COVID-19 is now in Indiana. Thanks for joining us here at 5 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins.
And I'm Amanda Starrentino. The State Department of Health announced today this is the same strain previously identified in the United Kingdom last fall. The state says it does not cause more severe infections, but is spread more easily.
Yeah, new research suggests the Pfizer vaccine can protect against the new strain. Moderna's was not tested in a preliminary study, but is now undergoing testing. An expert who tracks how the virus mutates says that he expects similar findings. State Health Commissioner Dr. Christina Box released a statement which says, quote, "It's common for viruses to mutate, and we are seeing that occur with COVID-19 because this strain of the virus can be transmitted more easily. It's more important than ever that Hoosiers continue to wear their masks, practice social distancing, maintain good hygiene, and get vaccinated when they are eligible," end quote. The state today reported 3,726 new positive cases of coronavirus. They were all recorded yesterday. 30 more Hoosiers have died with COVID-19. Those deaths occurred between Friday and yesterday.
Nearly 194,000 Hoosiers have received their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and nearly 24,000 have received both doses. Tonight, we are working to find out what is being done to make sure all available doses end up getting into Hoosiers' arms and not going to waste. We know both Moderna and Pfizer must be used within 6 hours of being opened. Most vials contain about 6 doses. We are working to clear up rumors about where those extra doses go at the end of the day. Leaders here at IU Health say they have a procedure in place to prevent waste. Their extra doses go to healthcare workers. The Hamilton County Health Department has one as well. They have a standby or backup list of eligible community members to call.
Once we open a vial, we're on the clock as to when that vaccine goes bad. So we do make sure we have those folks that are on backup lists so that if we do have to open an extra vial for some reason, we're ready to use it all.
We happen to have an extra dose. We will take it over to a healthcare worker in the building and see if we can find anyone eligible that's ready to get vaccinated.
Other hospitals in the area tell us they have similar procedures in place and no doses have gone to waste. Members of the Indiana National Guard now have a new mission to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Guard members are already helping out in long-term care facilities. Now they will help distribute, transport, and administer the COVID-19 vaccine to Hoosiers around the state. About 150 members of the Guard are tasked for this mission. They will come from the ranks of those already involved in the long-term care facilities and testing site missions. 10 teams of medical and general support guardsmen and health department personnel will transport the Moderna vaccine in health department vehicles. As long-term care facilities recover, guardsmen will pivot to the distribution and vaccination missions. However, facilities with the most urgent need will still receive Guard support until February 28th.
Now to the rapid developments in Washington, D.C. 5 days after the assault on the Capitol, House Democrats have formally introduced an article of impeachment against President Trump. The effort comes amid a nationwide manhunt to track down the rioters who attacked the Capitol last week. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze is in Washington with the latest.
The House is pressing forward with an effort to impeach President Trump for the second time, a first in American history. More than 200 House Democrats have now formally introduced an article of impeachment against the president for incitement of insurrection at the Capitol last week. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi telling 60 Minutes the president must be held accountable for the attack.
He has done something so serious that there should be prosecution against him.
Pelosi is giving Vice President Mike Pence 24 hours to invoke the 25th Amendment and strip the president of his powers. Otherwise, the House could go ahead and vote on the impeachment article as soon as Wednesday or Thursday. If the president is impeached and removed from office by the Senate, he could be barred from running for public office and deprived of his pension and other benefits.
The Constitution does appear to permit impeachment not just of sitting officials, but of former officials.
2 House Democrats are also calling for the censure of Representative Mo Brooks from Alabama. They say he endangered lives by riling up Trump supporters shortly before the attack on the Capitol. Authorities are now undertaking a massive effort to identify and locate thousands of the rioters.
We came close to half of the House nearly dying on Wednesday.
A senior official telling ABC News the rioters were organized, coordinated, and had leadership and communication equipment, and that many former military members were among them. The mayor of D.C. is now requesting additional security for President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration next week.
Am I scared? If I'm scared of anything, it's for our democracy, because we have very extreme factions in our country that are armed and dangerous.
President-elect Joe Biden says he spoke with lawmakers today about how to move forward with impeachment at the same time as the confirmation hearings for his cabinet. Elizabeth Schulze, ABC News, Washington.
The National Guard says it will increase troops in D.C. to at least 10,000 by Saturday to boost security ahead of the inauguration. And the National Park Service has shut down access to the Washington Monument until January 24th, citing threats surrounding the inauguration.
Back here in Indiana, Governor Eric Holcomb was sworn in today for his second and final term leading the Hoosier State. The inauguration ceremony at the State House was held virtually with no members of the general public attending in person due to the pandemic. Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch and new Attorney General Todd Rokita were also sworn in today. Kevin.
Another day in the clouds, Amanda. I guess we're used to that. There are some breaks in the cloud cover forecast. Well, I'll talk about how long we'll have to wait for that in a second. There's a look over Lucas Oil Stadium and the cloud cover. This is on top of the Salesforce Tower, our camera. So at times, basically sitting in the clouds. Not a lot of moisture with this, although many of you probably did see some flurries and enough to cover patchy areas, say the mulch and that, the side of a street. But in general, these flurries will just be limited to the next few hours. Look what didn't happen today. We didn't warm up. The temperature range has been from 23 to 27. 23 is our coolest temperature so far, and that's our current temperature. It's 25 up in Peru, 28 down in Bedford. Flurries early, we've established that. The clouds aren't going anywhere tonight, and the temperature will not move much either, staying in the low to mid 20s. We'll talk about the changes ahead coming up.
See you soon, Kevin. Thank you. The entire NCAA men's basketball tournament will be held in Indiana, with many March Madness games being played right here in Indy. The city is preparing to welcome thousands of players and their families. This as public safety continues to be a concern downtown. WRTV's Alyssa Donovan explains what is being done to increase safety in the Circle City for both visitors and for the people who live here.
IMPD and Downtown Indy Inc. are partnering together to improve public safety downtown. They're adding extra patrols to the streets and working with businesses to install surveillance cameras.
Around 20,000 visitors are expected to come through Indianapolis during March Madness, an economic win for downtown businesses that have been struggling during the pandemic.
Businesses and the hotels are all vying for that, for those footfalls and the every dollar spent.
Which is why IMPD and Downtown Indy Inc. want to ensure visitors feel safe enough to venture out and experience what the city has to offer.
Indianapolis is a nice place, and we want downtown to prosper again.
Civilian safety ambassadors like these guys, along with IMPD cadets, will be out patrolling as part of a new initiative by Downtown Indy Inc.
It offers another layer of public safety that is not a uniformed police officer in the downtown area.
They walk the downtown sidewalks, they engage with people, they're the extra set of eyes and ears for IMPD as well as the hospitality arm. So if somebody needs directions or they just want to ask questions about what's going on, these guys are prepped and ready to help respond to that.
Their goal is to help deter crime and inform IMPD of criminal activity or disturbances.
We just observe, and if we need to call, we'll get on our radio.
And the safety ambassadors aren't the only new addition helping police keep an eye on our streets. 45 surveillance cameras like these have been installed at more than a dozen businesses downtown. It's part of the B-Link program, which connects personal and business security cameras with IMPD.
That is 45 new opportunities for IMPD to have the the capability to have, potential video footage of an incident that has occurred in the downtown area.
These initiatives to improve safety in the metro have been in the works since last year, coming to fruition just in time for the lead up to March Madness. The hope is that these improvements will not only encourage visitors to explore during the tournament, but to come back again in the future. I'm Alyssa Donovan, WRTV.
Well, Downtown Indy Inc. reports they expect around 20,000 visitors in central Indiana for all of the games total. And that's just teams and their families. They hope to learn in February whether fans will be allowed to attend the games. If they are allowed, that number will, of course, increase. Well, starting tomorrow, the city of Indianapolis will take steps to clean up Monument Circle. Part of the circle will close to any encampments and personal property will be removed. The IMPD homeless unit says it will provide temporary or permanent housing to anyone who has been living on that sidewalk in that area. And the Department of Public Works will store items for up to 60 days. After noon on January 12th, any unaccompanied items found may be removed and thrown away. A notice from the city says encampments around the circle are blocking pedestrian traffic and disrupting businesses.
A state senator has filed legislation that would remove the statute of limitations for victims of child sexual abuse. Currently, survivors have 7 years from their 18th birthday or 7 years from the time they discover the abuse to file a civil lawsuit. Senator Aaron Freeman, a former deputy prosecutor, filed Senate Bill 135. The legislation would completely eliminate the statute of limitations for child sexual abuse survivors to file a civil lawsuit against the perpetrator or other responsible parties. Freeman says many people can't process what happened to them until long after the age of 25.
I just think that's not enough. I think oftentimes the facts and the evidence bears out that oftentimes the victims of this type of sexual assault don't even realize or come to the terms with it until much later in adulthood. And I think we need to provide in the state of Indiana a window of opportunity for these victims of sexual assault to have an opportunity to go to court and have their case heard if they want.
Freeman says survivors are victimized again when they discover they have no legal options related to their abuse. Senate Bill 135 has been assigned to the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Still ahead on WRTV, wiping the slate clean. The Indianapolis Public Library is giving all patrons a fresh start to 2021. What it means for fines going forward.
And Christmas is in the rearview mirror by a couple of weeks, and some people are still waiting for gifts to arrive. Why the Postal Service is not to blame this time.
When will we put clouds in the rearview mirror? That's a valid question. We'll answer that and look at this. Temperatures into the 40s for a while, and then you see what happens. We'll be back after this.
Only at Ashley Home Store.
The Indianapolis Public Library is starting the new year with a new policy that starts with forgiveness. The library is now fine-free and has forgiven more than $2 million in outstanding fines and collection fees. That means more than 87,000 patrons have had their accounts wiped clean of any late fees that build up when materials are overdue. The new fine-free policy began January 4th and aims to erase barriers to library use across the city. Library officials say the fines disproportionately affect low-income households, preventing equity in Indianapolis. Even though there are no longer fines, patrons are still expected to return items borrowed from the library on time. If materials are not returned or renewed, they are considered lost, and patrons are still responsible for those costs.
It's now about mid-January, but people everywhere are complaining about some gifts that still have not arrived. And this time it has nothing to do with the post office. Consumer reporter John Matarese explains, so you don't waste your money.
Some families all around the country are very disappointed this new year because a holiday gift they ordered never showed up. As one woman learned, it may have to do with where that gift was shipped from. Emily Overton loves her French bulldog patty cake.
Spoiled little girl.
She wanted to surprise her young son on Christmas morning with a picture of patty cake on a pillow.
You know how when you start talking about things and then they all of a sudden pop up on your Facebook feed.
She saw an ad for the pet pillow and placed an order a month before Christmas. 3 weeks later, she emailed the company.
It was December 20th was when they responded to me and told me that it was shipped.
But her pillow was on the other side of the globe.
If I started to check the tracking number and it was in China somewhere.
An online search turned up dozens of complaints.
So then I got on their Facebook page and started to look at some of the comments and found that some of the other people were having the same issues and they never received their items.
This is becoming a common complaint from people who place orders from retailers they find on Facebook or Instagram. Many of those companies are based in China, and delivery can take months. So how can you protect yourself? Before you order, check a company's location and read online reviews. The pet pillow is legitimate, not a scam, but it's based in Hong Kong, according to its website. We found a similar company that makes pet pillows that doesn't list any address, but a top payment option is the Vietnamese dong, suggesting your pillow may have a long boat ride. Emily's going to research more next time.
And I just ordered without thinking, so make sure you check.
Some pet pillow customers are now saying their order did show up after a few months. That's why it's important to check out a company before you order so you don't waste your money. I'm John Matteries, WRTV.
The NBA has had to postpone 2 more games due to COVID-19. The Mavericks game in Dallas and the Celtics game in Chicago are off. Dallas and Boston could not meet the minimum 8 players available to play after multiple positive results. League officials are telling teams that an update to health protocols is coming soon. Meanwhile, the Pacers start their longest road trip of the season tonight in Sacramento. 5 straight games out west over a busy 7-day stretch. They'll also play the Warriors and Clippers later this week. A solid start to the season. The Pacers won 6 of their first 9 games. That's good enough for an early lead in their division.
It's what you're doing, you know, on off days. It's what you're doing on practice days. It's how you're managing every little part that you might do in practice, the film sessions, the practice time, on court time. So that's how I look at managing those things more closely.
The Pacers return home from a week from Wednesday, rather. Disney on Ice will be at Bankers Life Fieldhouse while they're away. That opens this Wednesday.
Kevin Gregory joins us now with a look at our forecast. And Kevin, chilly today. You could even see some snowflakes in the air.
We didn't warm up. I mean, it's still in the low 20s, and that's where we spent the entire day. Mark mentioned Disney on Ice. Let's talk about thin ice in central Indiana. Even though temperatures have been below freezing, still not safe to get out on the ice. There's Eagle Creek, lots of ice, just a little open water. We'll continue to freeze that overnight, but then we'll get into some real melting, because our temperatures are poised to go above average. That will come with the help of some sunshine. All right, I'm cautiously optimistic we'll see some breaks in the cloud cover tomorrow afternoon. I'm more confident that Wednesday, partly sunny skies and 45. Thursday, the clouds increase out ahead of a weather system that may bring more substantial snow showers as we get overnight Thursday and then during the day on Friday, as a much colder air will return to end the work week. We're stuck in the low 20s in Indianapolis. It's 28 in Shelbyville, 27 in Muncie. Temperatures through the overnight won't change a whole lot. I think what will happen is any of the flurries and the drizzle or fog that we've had should lift. We'll see improvement there. Wind out of the southwest tomorrow. That's one key toward warming up a bit. The wind will be 10 to 20 miles per hour. Temperatures touch 40. That's a whole lot warmer than where we're at now, and it's just above average for this time of year. Our most notable days of mild temperatures come on Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, the southern storm that brought snow to Texas and portions of the Gulf Coast states, northern Gulf Coast states, now to the south and east. As we play this out, not much happening next couple of days. It's not until we get to later Thursday that you begin to see the next weather system taking shape north and west of central Indiana. That's where our snow showers will come from. During the day Wednesday, temperatures start a little warmer. They'll end warmer as well, pushing the mid-40s with a mixture of clouds and sunshine. There are high temperatures from north to south. No real temperature range to speak of there. Let's talk about Friday. Snow showers will pinwheel around strong low pressure in the Great Lakes. That's a confirmation that temperatures will be much colder and would be cold enough for some of that to stick, some light accumulations possible. That's something to keep an eye on toward the end of the week. Okay, there is your 7-day planner. Temperatures peak Wednesday and Thursday. Your snow showers around Friday and maybe early Saturday. High temperatures, again, struggle just to get to the freezing mark as we get to Saturday and Sunday. Back in the mid-30s next Monday. Had a double check on that. What came after Sunday? Mark?
A confirmation. All right, Kevin, thank you for that. The arrival of a new president also signals a return of a pet in the White House. Still ahead, the special ceremony planned just for the first dog.
877, only ATT.
President-elect Joe Biden will not be the only one in the spotlight when he enters the White House next week. His rescue dog, Major, is being honored with his own inauguration. The Delaware Humane Association and Pumpkin Pet Insurance are teaming up to host a virtual ceremony celebrating the nation's first shelter dog. A $10 minimum donation is required for those who want to join the Zoom event. All the proceeds will go to the Delaware Humane Association. While Major is set to become the first shelter dog in the White House, he is not the first rescue. Before him came Yuki, a mixed breed pup who was abandoned at a gas station and rescued by President Lyndon Johnson's daughter, Lucy. President Bill Clinton's family cat, Socks, was also a rescue. Major's inauguration is set for Sunday.
Congrats, Major. And in keeping with the dog theme, Ben & Jerry's is not just for people anymore. The Vermont Ice Cream Company announced today that it is introducing a line of frozen dog treats. Doggy desserts go on sale in grocery and pet stores later this month. The treats are made with a base of sunflower butter, the same ingredient used in its non-dairy based human desserts. I think we're going to have to stock up for Leo and Bishop, Mark.
Yeah, Bishop's watching. I'm ready for it, right? A baby boom at local hospitals in the middle of this pandemic. All new at 6 p.m. here. We find out why there's a bump in pregnancies and how hospitals are balancing that spike with their current COVID levels.
And it's one of the most joyful times in a woman's life, the birth of a baby. But some moms are struggling with a depression they never expected. Next at 5:30, one woman shares her story and why she says finding the help she needs is difficult right now.